Welcome. We are so glad that you are joining us this evening. It's so great to see all of you here. My name is Julia Ellergott, and I am the current Director of Defend Dignity, and our organization seeks to end sexual exploitation all across Canada. Our speaker this evening is Dr. Mandy Sanchez. Mandy comes with years of experience through her work at Culture Reframed and understanding the harms that youth are encountering through gaming and social media platforms, and what can we do to better prevent those harms from occurring? Mandy, welcome. We look forward to hearing from you this evening.
Thank you so much, Julia. And thank you so much, Defend Dignity, for having me here tonight. So tonight I'm here to present the intimate connection between social media, gaming, and porn and the harms to youth. And I come to you as the Director of Programming from Culture Reframed. We are a nonprofit international organization based out of Boston in the US. And we are dedicated to stopping the harms of pornography and hypersexualized media to young people. Tonight's presentation contains information about sex, hypersexualization, pornography, and sexual assault. There is graphic language, text, and images used throughout, so I strongly urge you to view at your discretion, and I really encourage self care. So, although we are an international organization, we are based out of the US. And so, a lot of our statistics are based in the US. But when I was talking with Julia, she asked me to come up with and really highlight Canadian statistics. And this is what we do for a lot of organizations and for groups when we present, not just US based statistics, but also Canadian statistics as well. And what we'll find out tonight is when we're talking about teens and the internet and smartphones and social media, we're finding that across the board, the kids who say that they're online almost constantly has doubled since 2014 and 2015 in the US, in Canada, in the UK, in across Europe, really everywhere from like I said, the US, from the UK, Australia. So in the US, we're doubling since 2014. In 2022, almost all of young Canadians, 99% aged 15 to 24, are using the internet, and over 90% are using social networking sites. Nearly all teens in the US have access to a smartphone. So here we use Pew Research Center data that's showing those that are 13 to 17 have access to smartphones. They're also accessing the internet through desktops or laptop computers, gaming consoles, and tablet computers. We find that when we look at Statista in Canada, we're finding mobile phone usage among children and teens as of April 2022 is increasing as well. And I just want to draw your attention to the age range of this particular study. The share of respondents using using a mobile phone, and typically a smartphone, from 2 to 6. We have nearly 40% of 2 to 6-year-olds in Canada using a smartphone. Nearly 50% of those aged 7 to 11 are using a smartphone, and close to 90% of that 12 to 17-year-old range in Canada using a smartphone. Now, Common Sense Media, another nonprofit organization, released this statistic, and this is true in Australia, Canada, and in the UK as well, that the number of notification most teens are receiving on those smartphones per day reaches numbers close to 237. So those dings, 237 notifications per day on their phones. So I did some looking into Canada's media technology monitoring report, so that MTM Junior report, and specifically looking at social media. And this report found that 44% of those Canadian 7 to 11-year-olds are using social media daily. Close to 82% of 13 to 17-year-olds, so that older age range, are using that daily. And they report using social media for things like watching videos, messaging, looking at content, liking and reacting to content, and leaving comments. And this is true across the board. So in the US, in Canada, in the UK and Australia, this is where we're getting a lot of those research studies, and this is what we're finding true across the board. So, the American Psychological Association in the US are saying that kids are spending about 4.8 hours a day on the most popular social media apps, which are YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And that's about 87% of their social media time. So, I looked up to see if the Canadian Pediatric Society had anything to say about how kids are spending that social media time or how much time they're spending on social media, and they report similar findings. It's a little bit more. The Canadian Pediatric Society said that Canadian kids are spending about 5 hours a day on the most popular social media apps, which are YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. And across the board here, regardless of country, this kind of ties these industrialized, more westernized countries together. The research out there is really mixed on social media, with some experts saying, well, social media exists on this scale, not really good or bad, but it can be beneficial for kids. It could increase socialization for kids. They can practice communication skills at very young age. There's a place for kids on social media in which to gain support networks and friendships where they might not get that in rural spaces. Our LGBTQ kids are finding collective identity as a way to really find identity there where they can't in other spaces. Um, like I said, the research is mixed there, where in this country, our US Surgeon General has said in the past 3 to 4 years, 13, which is the minimum age for most kids on social media, it's not he doesn't think that that's old enough to be on social media because there are a plethora of studies that are saying social media causes a lot of negative um, repercussions, such as decreased productivity, stress, increased anxiety, and depression because of the increases in false connections, unrealistic expectations, cyberbullying. Lots of studies out there on the lack of privacy and isolation. I know that the Online Safety Acts in Canada are citing these types of studies, the sleep studies, which are really interesting, saying that kids are getting less quality of sleep. So we're seeing this mixed result here when it comes to the type of social media and the type of online activity that kids are having here. In fact, when you take a look at Meta's own research, their own research is even producing studies, or their own research is even producing results that say, actually, this is not making kids feel better about themselves. Instagram released a study in 2019 saying 1 in 5 teens are saying that Instagram makes them feel worse about themselves. So, what I'd like to do today or tonight is take you through these popular social media apps and really talk about their intention, how kids are using them, and how we should take a look at them and see some of the potential dangers or the potential harms that they're causing through what we've collected in our research and others' research about them. So, first is Snapchat. And it's really interesting to see that Snapchat was originally marketed as an app to send nude pictures called Peekaboo. Well, researchers say that it hasn't really came far from the original intent because now kids are calling Snapchat the sexting app. We do a lot of presentations with school administrators, with teachers and counselors in schools with nurses, and they're saying Snapchat. The kids who are using Snapchat, they're getting younger and younger. They like this app because of the defining feature, which is that filter feature. Down here, I have this image where you can see a young girl that could be 9 or 10 can just really instantly transform her image to become a much older version of herself. And then she becomes this version that she can put out. Um, Also, this idea of Snapchat being something that a snap can be taken, and then the picture can be taken, and then it's sent and disappears in a snap. But we know that that is not the case. Also, we work with internet crimes and Interpol, and there is a snap map, so you can share your location, and other friends can find you on this snap map so you can share your location. Also, kids are talking about our Snap streak in our stories. So you can easily equate friendships and this idea of likability on our Snap streak. So we are sending snaps to this list of people in our friendship group, and we're trying to keep these streaks alive. So it's really playing on our ability to be liked, and we're equating that with, did someone think about us? Are we keeping this streak alight? Kids are really equating that to, our friendships. So is it safe? Is it dangerous? That's what our parents are asking us a lot about. So when our administrators, our school administrators, our parents are talking to about this, the one thing that our law enforcement are saying is, these snaps don't really disappear. Once they are sent out, we always tell our young folks, once you send something out, it doesn't just magically disappear. It is out there for the whole universe to see, and it can always be brought back into the mix. We see young kids sending pictures and then taking screenshots of those pictures and then sharing them. So really, they're not really disappearing. Again, we talked about the snap streaks being equated to, a huge time consumer, being equated to friendships, and that snap map. Our law enforcement friends are telling us that this is really dangerous in terms of real time locations being shared, so that that becomes a real safety issue. Our next app that is very popular among our Canadian teens and tweens, as well as US, is Instagram. Instagram is another photo sharing and video sharing platform where we see lots of young people sharing stories, sharing videos on this. This is a one video or one photo sharing platform that I want to talk to you about, because we have this notion of fake Instagram accounts and real Instagram accounts, where the average teenager has 5 fake Instagram accounts where they will put up these fake images of themselves. They might hide their real Instagram accounts just to have the real ones shared with family and friends, and then portrayals of the life that they want to live, and who they might like to project to other people, to have friends that aren't really close to them. We see a lot of anxiety and depression being caused at very young ages, where we can't compete, right? There's a lot of social comparison here, especially being spawned in this app. This image over here, where this young girl, her name is Bella, she's 10 years old. This was an investigation by an organization called Collective Shout out of Australia. And what they did was a 15-month investigation on the sexualization of girls on Instagram. And they documented thousands of images just like this. And they saw the hypersexualization of extremely young girls, younger than 11, 12. 12. And they collected these images along with the comment section and they submitted them to Instagram. And they said, we have a real problem here, Instagram, because there's young girls being hypersexualized and being posed in very hypersexual or explicit ways. And after verifying that this young girl was really 10 years old, the comment here that is circled in front of you with the red circle is please open your legs. So this organization submitted these to Instagram, and Instagram came back with the we've reviewed all of these images and we found that they don't go against our community guidelines. And so Collective Shout put these up on their website and said, if this doesn't go against your community guidelines, we don't know what does. So is Instagram safe after that? We're we wonder what does protect our kids if that is considered not going against community guidelines. So mature content on Instagram makes young people grow up really fast, lots of hypersexualized images. The pressure to have fake Instagram accounts from really young ages, no age verification. Remember that minimum age is 13 to have that account. And that constant comparison factor, comparing my life. Am I young enough? Am I thin enough? Am I pretty enough? Do I have likes? Are people sharing my videos and why not? So that constant comparison factor that produces anxiety and lots of depression for young people as young as 7 and 8 years old. So then we move from these still image photo sharing apps to video. And TikTok is the one of the fastest rising video sharing platforms that we have. And UK psychologist Elaine Casket said that TikTok is a supercharged catnip for teens. And boy, is she right. There is tons of hypersexualized, really pornified images just infiltrating TikTok, from the challenges that we see that are just downright dangerous, like the blackout challenge, where teens were pressing on their friend's chest until they pass out, to many different types of challenges or trends on TikTok where the girls are wearing school uniforms and it's about, my teacher is tutoring me, or what this is. The one here in the black and red image is a silhouette challenge. Started off as a body positive movement, and as soon as it started off, someone found out how to erase that filter, that black and red filter, to expose women's naked bodies, and then put those images on third party porn sites. So this TikTok, and I'm sure you've heard all there is to hear about TikTok and the pressures of TikTok. Also, we have YouTube, and this is the one, YouTube and YouTube Kids, where parents are constantly asking, okay, well, what about YouTube Kids and Instagram for teens, or all of these teen-friendly or kid-friendly accounts, and we've looked at these sites, and it doesn't take long to see, just because you slap a label of teen-friendly or kid-friendly and say that there's parental controls, doesn't mean that kids don't know how to circumvent that, because kids are digital natives, right? They grow up in this space. And if they want to take these parental controls off, they can. So we see another very popular video sharing platform where you don't have to have an account, right? You don't have to be 13 in order to watch videos on YouTube, and even on YouTube Kids, right? That minimum age of 13 is really just abandoned. So here, we've done our own research where it took like less than 5 minutes to find this channel called Aries Kids TV. And what we're finding on YouTube and on YouTube Kids is the hypersexualization of children's cartoons. So really popular children's cartoons like Bubble Guppies, PJ Masks, Mickey Mouse, Clubhouse, and they're hypersexualized and actually pornified. So this one here in the upper left-hand corner is Bubble Guppies. And this, if you don't know, is a popular kids cartoon about a school of fish. And this is the main character, Molly. Well, Molly in the kids cartoon is a fish. This character right here is not a fish. She's lost her gills and her fins, and she's grown legs, arms, and a dancing pole. Within 4 minutes, she's dancing on a stage. Within 4 minutes and 30 seconds, she has lost all of her clothes, and within 5 minutes, she's having an orgy with the other characters. If you look here really carefully, you'll see that this video has 2.3 million views, and it's on a channel called Aries Kids TV, right? So with 2.3 million views, it's getting lots of hits. So if you just type in bubble guppies, it's within the first 3 videos that you search for. And I know that it's easy to give a kid an iPad, sometimes 2 or 3 years old, and you just type bubble guppies and there you go. And it becomes in the playlist, right? Just like all of these videos with 1.8, 1.6 million views. This one with 1.8 million views is of an orgy with the Mickey Mouse characters, right? So if we're not careful, this is what we're giving our kids. Same here with the PJ Masks on YouTube Kids. So we really have to be careful with that. And that's what we're seeing, that someone is creating these videos and they're being taken down, but they're being put right back up. So there's no monitoring of that. So is it safe? There's tons of inappropriate content on both YouTube and YouTube Kids, as well as TikTok. Um, People always talk about the targeting ads. Yes, there are targeting ads. There are ads for a ton of stuff, and they are doing that. But there's hypersexualized and pornified content as well. And there's something else that we kind of ran into within the last 6 months that we really wanted to mention, and that's the kidfluencer concept. And kidfluencers have taken kind of this YouTube and TikTok by storm. And it's the notion of kids being used to sell products. And at first, we kind of think, there's no harm, no foul in this. Like Ryan Kaji has a YouTube channel, but he has over 100 million viewers and he's worth over $100 million. And he reviews products on YouTube, and they're kids products. This little girl here, she was 10 when she posted a TikTok video emulating influencers like Addison Rae. But this has moved into the skincare industry, where recently we see New York Times articles about skinfluencers, where young kids, girls and boys as young as 8, 7 and 8, are going through 12-step skin routines or skin, beauty care routines, and they're spending, while their parents are spending hundreds of dollars at Sephora and Ulta Beauty, and they're getting tons of skincare products. And pediatric dermatologists are talking about how this is really horrible for their skin, right? They should have a face wash, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen, right? Not these products that are being sold to our 7 and 8 year olds. And we are constantly asked, where is this coming from, right? How do kids want to be, influencers? Where is this culture coming from? And there was a New York Times article just back in February of last year where there's a marketplace for this, but they're being managed by their parents, but they're also being stalked by grown men, and mom knows about it, right? So when we're working with child protection professionals and we're talking about, yes, this is the media and yes, this is the industry making money, we also urge parents to be educated about this as well. In this article, there is a mom cited that says, yeah, I sell my 9-year-old's used panties for $500. However, they don't know where we live. It's not like they're going to come find us. Like that was one of the quotes in the article. And I'm happy to send that off to Julia so that you all can have access to this one. Jennifer Valentino DeVries and Michael Keller do amazing work on this. So, in this social media culture, this like me, watch me, look at me culture, we see through research how social comparison can harm us, right? Increasing depression and increasing poor body image, decreasing well-being, and thoughts of suicide, increasing eating disorders and disordered thinking and desiring to change your body. So this is having a real effect on our young people. So then we move into the world of gaming. And, sociologists, my background's in sociology, we have been researching the hypersexualization and female video game characters for decades. But with new technology like AI, we not only move towards video game porn, but also the notion of sex robots, as promised in the new release of Grand Theft Auto 6 next year. But we're also seeing a trend towards the pornification of games that are geared towards children, like Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox. Now, Roblox is an educational gaming platform played by more than 25 million children worldwide. And in 2020, Roblox released that two-thirds of all I know US children and a similar amount of Canadian children between the ages of 9 and 12 are using this game. And now it's a major metaverse platform that has a 17 and up category that features adult content and violence. And a parent had asked me about these Roblox characters and skins that are becoming increasingly pornified. So these skins are what you can buy at, a Roblox shop or a Minecraft shop. So you can get handcuffs, you can get lingerie, and you can buy ligature marks. You can buy the color of your sheets, lingerie as well. A parent had also asked me about condos and Roblox. So of course I had to look into these condos. These are user generated spaces where people can talk about sex, where their avatars can have virtual sex. And these images here are from a BBC article in 2022 where the author discussed the condos in more detail about going into a strip club, being able to pick out the dancers that you wanted, and then having your avatar advertise if you wanted to have sex, if you wanted to take this off platform and have virtual sex. So without robust age verification, you could technically have children interacting with adults in these condos. So, the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children has this is a child, one of the biggest child protection agencies in the UK, has a childline report, and they have a free childline report where you can call in and report things that are happening to you or your friends. And a girl age 14 called the Childline Report and said, I was playing Roblox. I was on a game where you work at a pizza place, and two people were pressuring girls to do inappropriate stuff with them. And if they did, they would get extra money in the game. Another boy, age 12, called this same report and said, I met this user on Roblox when I was like 10. He said he was my age, although now I know that was a lie. And after a while, he asked me to send pictures. And if I did, he would give me Robux in the game. So I sent him some pics. After that, he started asking me for more pics and even threatened to post the ones he had if I said no. So this just tells you that there's some interactions between adults and children on these gaming platforms that are meant to be educational. These educational games like Roblox are sent on school issued devices. That these are things that can happen in unmonitored chats, and that's why we encourage schools to get into this educational sphere and to understand what's really going on as well. Also in gaming, um, there is a platform called Discord. Some of you may know Discord. Think Skype with the internet calling meets Reddit, discussion with the discussion board. Discord is a platform that was created by gamers for gamers as a place to share tips and tricks of the gaming world, but it has expanded, especially through COVID. They have 6.7 million active servers, like chat rooms, and a ton of active monthly users. Again, you have to be 13 in order to be on Discord. But there are a ton of not suitable for work communities or servers. I screen grabbed a couple of these that are geared toward sharing nudes of teenagers between the ages of 13 to 17. This one right here is just advertise, just flat out advertising how they trade nudes, do events. They're asking for those that are not suitable for work, incest nudes, dark web, taboo nudes. So these things are largely unmonitored and is technically child sexual abuse materials. And as a way to distribute free porn. So there's over 100,000 not suitable for work servers on Discord. There's over 30 million people contributing to adult content. I had a young person under the age of 18 talk to their parents, and their parent tell me that it was super easy to get porn on Discord. All you had to do was enter the not suitable for work server by saying that you were 18 and you agreed to see this, and then every day they just logged into their porn Discord server and they were able to choose the category that they wanted, and that's how they would get porn. So they didn't have to technically type porn into a search engine. They didn't have to go to a porn website. They just got their porn on Discord. So it was a gaming platform. So how the porn industry has really infiltrated games was really to infiltrate games, right? And when you look at one of the biggest free porn distribution sites like Pornhub, four of the top five most searched for video games on that platform are marketed towards kids that are age 13 and up. So Fortnite, Minecraft, Pokemon, all of those games that are kids games have been pornified and turned into porn that's available on Pornhub. So the porn industry has really hijacked social media. So as much as social media has become pornified, we see that through TikTok. Adults are using TikTok live stream to send gifts to minors. They're asking them to share nude photos, to strip in live streams, which is giving them unfettered access to groom girls. They're then redistributing their images on third-party porn sites. Forbes magazine did an expose where they monitored the TikTok live streams, and they showed how adults were sending these gifts, and showing a lot of the young people were 12 to 14 years old. A lot of the adults were in their 40s to 50s, and you can find that on Forbes magazine. And this goes even to other social media sites that we don't think about, like Pinterest. A NBC News investigation did an expose on Pinterest where they found that Pinterest's own algorithms were curating images of young girls in boards that had pictures, curated image boards of little girls that were in bathing suits or gymnastics uniforms, that were titled Young Girls, Sexy Little Girls, Hot Delicious Guilty Pleasures. And they were making it so easy to find these sex-themed image boards of little girls. They were inadvertently curating these images for adults who went looking for them. And when NBC contacted Pinterest to tell them about it, Pinterest said, that's how the algorithms work, and we don't know how to stop it because that's what it's set up to do. And again, Discord has been called a hunting ground because it's so easy to find inappropriate content. There is an open chat feature on Discord. There is location tracking. There is a place on Discord where it is encouraged for donations. This is a kind of a gateway into OnlyFans. This is my own screenshot to show how easy it was because after that parent told me it was so easy for their child to get free porn every day, I had to see it for myself. So I just logged into Discord, and then all it said was, you have to be 18 years old to view the channel. Are you 18 and are you willing to see adult content? Hit this red button to continue. So I hit continue and it just let me in. There was no age verification at all. And so I was in, and then I turned on the open chat. I turned on the location tracking, and I said I was 18 so I could receive donations. So if I sent pictures, I could get donations as long as I could set up a credit card. So I was able to do all of that. And I could have been 13 because Discord wouldn't have known. Another thing I wanted to mention was that, again, in 2023, one of the most searched for terms on Pornhub was hentai. And Dr. Gail Dines and I, who is the founder of our organization, Culture Reframed, we wrote an article on hentai, which is it's the Japanese pornified version of anime. And we know that kids they are searching for anime, and anime is a hugely popular cartoon kind of style for kids now. And we did some investigation on this, and I think it's really important. Hentai is technically the Japanese phrase for sexual perversion, so it's a pornified version of anime. Oftentimes, the cartoon characters are from movies and gaming and television. They're likely to look like children. They're to be appealing towards children. They typically look like kids. They have big eyes. And again, they're made to look like cartoons. Often they're little girls with lollipops and pigtails and holding baby dolls or teddy bears. We looked on a variety of porn websites because this is what we do, but there were 7 million views for this Disney princess hentai. And hentai videos are being pushed out on YouTube and TikTok, and these are of Disney princesses in a variety of ways. So this is something that is appealing to kids because they're Disney princesses, because they're cartoons, and oftentimes parents are missing it because they're cartoon. So it's another way that porn is infiltrating kids' cartoons. So we can see the connection here with the crossover content, the shared platform. We have a whole separate presentation on this new industry of video game and AI porn, and the common marketing tactics of these huge multi-billion-dollar industries. So in the last few minutes here, I want to take some time to talk about how we believe that we can change this toxic culture because we created it, not necessarily us, but it has been created. So we believe that we can reframe it and we can change it through equity and empathy. And what we do at Culture Reframe is we work at an all systems level. We do take a public health approach, and we believe that we have to tackle the issue not just on a micro level. It's important that we do that, but we do have to take a public policy, a macro level approach to change the culture, to change the society, and really push for public policy. We also need to get into schools, community, and health agencies at that meso level, that cultural level, and then work with families, peers, and individuals. Taking that public health approach is important because it is a public health a stealth public health problem. This is a public health crisis for children because of its pervasive nature as a societal problem, not a moral failing of individuals. So, a public health approach is necessary because porn is really undermining the social, emotional, cognitive, and physical health and well being of individuals, families, and communities. So, we center our work around young people and all of those trusted adults who can help them build resilience and resistance to hypersexualized media and porn by becoming knowledgeable, skilled, and confident in having the necessary conversations. We build partnerships with child advocacy centers, anti trafficking organizations, domestic and sexual violence organizations, those in the legal field, such as juvenile court judges, defense attorneys, prosecuting attorneys, advocates, those in the medical field who are the first line of defense, the pediatricians, forensic and sexual assault nurse examiners. All of those individuals, those like you at Defend Dignity, who are interested in expanding educational awareness to your community. We believe that we have to stop siloing our work and really build partnerships together in order to tackle this giant. Research shows that the key protective factors in preventing risky behaviors is conversations with kids. So, if parents and caregivers, educators, and those in the medical, legal, and social fields are having conversations, it reduces risky behaviors by 70%, 75 to 85% in kids. And kids are really wanting to have this conversation with confident and skilled adults. They need a place to go to have conversations about these predatory industries. They don't want to be manipulated. They need trusted adults that have their backs, that can listen to what they're going through, and they need the safe place to land. So, what we have done throughout the years, we have built online courses. We actually have three. They are research driven, age based, and developmentally appropriate courses. There are two for parents. One for parents of tweens, age 9 through 12, and one for parents of teens, age 13 through 17. They are full of educational resources, videos, experts talking to you about how to really build that resilience and resistance in kids, guided conversation scripts that really just set the tone, give you the words and give you the confidence in really starting that conversation, continuing that conversation throughout the course of the developmental stage for kids. We say it's never too early and never too late to have the conversation. We really implore you to scaffold the information, start young. When you give a kid a cell phone, have the conversation. When you give a connected device, have a conversation. If you're like, my kid can't comprehend it, don't give them a connected device, right? You're not going to give them keys to the car and be like, good luck. Use this, use traffic signals, be aware of what what's going on. No, we give them driver's ed. We teach them how to drive and be responsible. So we're saying be present, ask them questions, get them to teach you. Um, Also, being present means watching for warning signs, teaching parents and others about what these look like. And we know that they look different depending on their age and stage of development. But if they're withdrawing from family, friends, activities that they've liked, if they're closing their devices or sticking their phone under their leg when you walk in, they might be planning a birthday party for you, but they might be hiding something, and we don't know. This is it's time to talk, right? If they're going to the bathroom and spending excessive amounts of time, especially if they're taking a connected device, like the bathroom should be a place where they're not taking a connected device. This is so super important. If they're being secretive about who their friends are, online and offline, it's really important that parents and caregivers know who their friends are. quality of sleep, lack of sleep, if they're using precocious sexual language at any age, their mood is shifting, if they're increasing in depression, anxiety, it's just time to talk. And these warning signs are going to be, maybe it's social media use, maybe it's gaming, maybe it's trafficking, maybe, maybe it's pornography exposure, but it's something. And so we say, just have the conversation. And those conversations um, need to be short and sweet, right? It's going to be super uncomfortable for everybody involved. And if you know that going in, you're one step ahead, right? It's better to have 100 1-minute conversations than a huge 100-minute lecture. Nobody wants to do that, right? So our conversation scripts are going to help parents and caregivers and really anyone gain the confidence to approach these really difficult, really uncomfortable, but super necessary conversation. And you can talk about the harms of pornography, about the pressures to be sexy, about the pressure among boys and integrity among girls, about boundary setting and walking in. What do you do when you walk in and you see your kid watching porn? About bodies and hypersexualization. We also have a tech use agreement. We have a mobile phone or a smartphone contract that you can work out with your kids about what devices can be used, what apps do I allow, what games am I allowing, what are your passwords. Yes, as a parent, you should be able to have passwords. What happens when you go back on that, how you don't take it to the bathroom with you, you don't have it in your room when you sleep at night. Maybe the wait until eighth movement, you're waiting until eighth grade, or you're waiting until 14 to give a connected device. Those are all available resources on our website. And then the third course that we have is a porn critical sex education curriculum. We're super excited about this. We launched this at the end of last summer. It is super innovative because it has an anti-exploitation framework. It is customizable, very comprehensive. It has training modules for teachers and anyone that's going to deliver this. It has lesson plans that are customizable. It has 9 digital media literacy sessions. It's full of resources. It's available right now. It's free. Our parents' courses are free. We have a horrible business model, but it's all free and available for you right now on our learning management system. And let me see. So, our call to action to you is to access and share our website, our resources, our courses. Why wouldn't you? They're free. Just check them out. No harm, no foul. Talk about it. Talk about the ways that social media have become hypersexualized and pornified, the way that porn harms kids. Sign up for our newsletter. It's right here. We don't bombard you, but you at least know what we're doing internationally. We can come talk to you more about more things that you're interested in. Collaborate with your organizations and continue to de-silo our work together. I can put my email in the chat, but I'll put it up here on the screen as we end. This is our website, culturereframed.org. And this is my direct email. So if you have questions that we don't get to, please feel free to email me. I will email you back, Sanchez@culturereframed.org. And that is my time today. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And like I said, if we don't get to them today, please feel free to email. Let this all marinate. And Julia, I'll hand it back to you and your team.
Great. Thank you so much, Mandy, for that good information and just giving us a nice broad perspective of the gaming platforms and of the social media platforms as well. And then also just not leaving us feeling like we want to crawl under our desk and never come out again. But
Right.
was giving us some really good, helpful things that we can do. We have some questions, and again, audience, if you would like to ask a question, please do so right now using that Q&A function that's at the bottom of your screen. To start off the Q&A, one of the questions is, are there good gaming options? We know our kids are going to love to game, and obviously we live in a very creative world. So if there's so much creativity on the dark side, is there some creativity on the good side that you're aware of?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, and I think that they can be good. Like, I know and Roblox, I love Roblox, and I do think that they can be used for good. And there's a really great organization called Digital for Good, and Common Sense Media has really great resources that answer these exact questions. So I implore you to check out Common Sense Media, because they do show you how to use these platforms for good. And parental controls can work for you. They can work for you, and can be used for good. But we have to be able to use them. But I think the thing that my biggest takeaway, and if I could give you this, it would be to sit with your kid and see how they use the game, right? Let them play the game with you. Let them tell you, what do I like about this game? How does this game make me feel? And when I get angry playing this game, what do I do? Like, do I hit things? Do I throw things? Do I throw my controller? Am I saying things? And is it making me feel some kind of way? And how do we do that together? Because I think most games can be played, age appropriate games can be played for good. It's going to take a little time for us to really use that game with them, and to sit with them. And that was kind of the best advice that I got from gamers, parents who game, and parents who are like, it doesn't have to be all bad. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. And so if we use parent controls, but we are our best parental control, right? We are our best one. So if we're sitting there with our kids and we're understanding what this is, and we're using that, and we're seeing that, and we're checking in every once in a while. And what I found is no headsets. Like, let's try to not, let's not encourage the headset, because then I can hear it coming over. Like, there's been several times, like, my kiddo likes to game, and I'll walk in there and I'll be like, who is that deep voice? But my kiddo's 13, and I have to remember, like, voices are changing at that age. So they're like, Mom, that's so and so. And I'm like, oh, but we've got to be present. So that's my best tip. Be present with your child, and explore that with them, and start asking questions. If you don't want to play it with them, be in the room while they're doing it, and that's how you build trust and connection with them.
Okay, that's great. Well, and that
Yeah.
follows with what you said about the 101-minute conversations instead of the 100-minute lecture, walking out of the room saying, oh, phew, got that done. Don't
Yeah.
have to talk about that again.
Don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. No,
Right.
that's great. Yeah. So for those of you in the audience that are grandparents, I'm a grandma. I've got 8 of those little ones, and it's like, okay, I've never gamed a whole lot in my life, but maybe grandma will be gaming this weekend as she spends time
Right.
with them, just to become more familiar with their world as well.
Yeah.
One of the questions we also have is it helpful for parents to collect the smartphone at the children's bedtime to avoid nighttime use? And does that, by collecting that phone at bedtime, reduce addiction behavior?
100%. 100%. And I don't think that you'll find an expert in the field, or a pediatrician that would say, "Oh no, let them have their phone when they sleep." I think that I have never met anyone that said, "Oh, it's okay, let them." I have only met pediatricians and those health experts that says, "Get that phone out of that bedroom. Get the phone out of the bedroom. Don't even let them charge it. Don't let them use it as an alarm clock. Introduce an actual alarm clock. Be like, this is what we used in my day. Like, this is an alarm clock. That's what my kids got for Christmas. Like this, we're using alarm clocks. The blue light from that, will the sleep, the 237 notifications a day. If that's not enough to get that phone out of the bedroom at night, it's just so much of a distraction. And it's so easy just to grab it. So I would say, have a space for all of that. And if parents can learn to do it, kids learn by modeling, modeling behaviors. So if we can learn to keep it out of our bedrooms, like it would be amazing for the whole family. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Today I came across a post that was made by Protect Young Eyes, and I know you're familiar with that
Yeah.
organization.
Mhm.
And the interesting quote that he had was, "There is no findings showing harm to children who stay off of social media. In fact, some emerging evidence suggests that the most socially competent kids are refraining from using these platforms." And
Absolutely.
yeah, just that kind of positive spin.
Yep.
Another question deals more with law and the Australian law that restricts social media platforms to 16 years and older. Is that something that we should ask for here in Canada?
It wouldn't be harmful. Like it wouldn't be harmful. I know that it's an uphill battle for most places, and but I also know the research and there, like just like you said, there, as more research, as those meta analyses start to come out that show collectively, like as we start to get more research that build on the harms, anything's that's showing like there's more harm done, and we are better off if we keep this out of the hands of younger and younger kids, then why not, then why not? And I think that we're going to see, as more schools start to push back and say, No, we're going to have a smartphone free campus and we're going to start restricting the use of phones." As we start to see the data come in, and we're starting to see that, I know that here in the States, we're starting to see data that shows test scores are going up and the general culture is getting a little bit better. I think that's going to show us a little bit more about how good that is. I mean, personally, I would vote for that, and I think that Culture Reframed would support. We support age verification, and we would definitely support pushing, pushing back that age for social media.
Yeah, great.
Mhm.
Do you think platforms will ever be liable for causing harm?
Oh gosh. We can hope, and I think what we see, and I mean, we have just, in the last 3 or 4 years, we have been kind of thrust into this world of social media platforms because this is where we are. We have been really focused in the porn industry. So we've been trying to hold the porn industry liable. And I think that we have seen a shift with that industry, which I think that we can relate to social media industry. And we are hopeful that we see that industry being held liable, because we relate it to big tobacco. We see that we've seen that kind of campaigning against big tobacco, and how we've just constantly tried to hold, those big industries. I mean, if you think about it, the porn industry is the only multi-billion-dollar unregulated industry in the world. And they have caused, unmeasurable amounts of harm. And social media is right following right behind there. So the trajectory is there, and if anybody has set a precedent, it has been big tobacco. So we are seeing a shift, and I think we're hopeful. We're
Okay,
hopeful to see that. Yeah.
okay, good, good. Another question along that same lines is, Ayla wants to ask tech platforms to do age verification on device level.
Yep.
Don't we also need age verification by third party to
Mhm.
access either social media, so 13, 16-year-olds, and age verification for pornography sites? So that whole piece of
Absolutely.
the third party, do we need to act, do we need that?
I mean, at bare minimum, we need age verification on porn platforms. I mean, that is a bare minimum. And that's what we've been pushing for. Bare minimum. I think that social media sites say that they have it. It's just not monitored.
Yeah,
Like it's not regulated, you know.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's where we need to do some more good work on it, just like you referred to the tobacco industry. That's a
Yep.
great example to
Hmm.
follow, right? And I think about the heavy lobbying that was done. So that's
Yep.
not being siloed, working all together
Yep.
for that. So along that lines, there's the question also asked about being familiar with the Dirty Dozen list that the National Center on Sexual Exploitation has. What are your thoughts in being able to move that forward, that Dirty Dozen list?
Yeah, I mean, it's about accountability, right? And it's about public accountability in the public eye. And it's about lobbying and legislation, which they do a very good job about. And it's about supporting them and doing that, bringing everyone together and de-siloing that. So if we, getting those organizations together, um, and really, when you're dealing with an unregulated industry that has a lot of money that lobby themselves, like the Free Speech Coalition, it's about standing up to them and doing that. So it's, bringing as many people as they do and as many dollars as they do to fight that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Are you familiar at all with Canadian legislation and what is happening there? I don't want to put you on the spot. I can answer a little bit of that, but if you're familiar with that at all.
No, I would feel more comfortable if you did. I mean, we stay up to date as much as we can with
Sure.
the world's legislation, and we try to when we're asked to weigh in, we do. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, great. Well,
Yeah.
just very briefly to our audience, definitely we have worked on advocating for change on that political level for policy and law reform. So there are several bills that are there. The bill S210 for the Senate to do age verification. And so I would say to our audience, please go to our website, defenddignity.ca. You'll see the government advocacy tab, and it will outline the bills that we are currently hoping can get passed in Parliament once our Parliament is not prorogued and we are back in session. So I would really encourage our audience to go there to get the information that you're looking for in that area. Just to close off our Q&A, a question I have for you is, we hear lots in the media about sadly, the suicides that happen, right? And just the devastation that causes for family and the ripple effect to friends. But I'm asking, do you also have another story of maybe a youth or a child who did get involved too deep? And what's a success story? Someone who didn't, end their life, but chose to say, you know what, the resilience that you talked about, I was able to build that and work through that. Do you have a story that you could share with us from that perspective?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we have tons of stories like that, and we have a ton of parents. Especially, we've done some work in from a Canadian perspective of parents who have taken our courses, taken some webinars that we had, did some trainings, and said, especially with Discord, like Discord is always the one where we have parents saying, man, our kid, was going down a rabbit hole with Discord. And it was, we have a story about a young boy who was going down a rabbit hole with Discord and just kind of being bombarded with porn and free access. And their parents use the word addiction, and it was kind of going down that road, and then depression and suicidal ideation. And parents didn't know what to look for, and then came to one of our webinars, and then just light bulbs went off, and decided, okay, what the heck, what do I have to lose? We're going to have a conversation. And it just started, it just opened up, and it literally, mom said it was a 3-minute conversation, and 3 minutes saved the life. Just 3 minutes just opened up the door. And it was 3 minutes one week, and then it was 4 minutes the next week, and then it became 6 minutes, and it just became, opened up the floodgates. And then it was a 2-minute conversation with a neighbor, and that became, and then it was the ripple effect. So it was, a ripple effect in a really good way, and, a ripple effect that saved lives. And then it became a community that rallied around, and then we actually got to speak to that community, so it was really, there are really good story, we hear in the media when, we do talk about, and these are horrible stories of tragedy, but there's also really good stories of hope, and there's so many out there. And it's really, I know it's simple, but we say, start the conversation. Like, let's just have the conversation, and it matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think that gives
Yeah.
us all that sense of hope as we end this webinar, and just that whole scaffolding approach that you talked about earlier. just
Yep.
those conversations, continue to have them. And I love what you just shared about that ripple effect, because then
Yep.
that influenced another conversation with a neighbor, right? So
Yep.
yeah, that's great. So thank you for ending that on such a positive note. I've just really
Yeah.
appreciated your depth of insight and knowledge that you have shared with us, and how we
Mhm.
can implement that in the days ahead. So I just want to let our audience know that you will receive an email in 2 days or so of a recording of this webinar and a PDF of some good takeaways, handouts from this session that you can use for implementation. Mandy has shared with us lots of great stuff at Culture Reframed, so make sure you head over there, and they do have great resources. I've been on there scouring and just they're all free. So there's just no reason not to take advantage of those. And you know what else is really lovely? It's not 90 minutes that you have to sit in front of your computer. They're just really short, precise, address the issue, and then you can go as deep as you want from there. So I'd really encourage our audience to go there for more information. We
Mhm.
also hope that you will join us at our next webinar, which is on March 5th. And Caitlin Ranasing will be here, and she's going to be focusing on what are our middle-aged high school students doing online? Like, where are they spending their time? What does that look like? And what are the risks and what are the conversations that we can have specifically with that age group? So be sure to register for that. There'll be a Zoom link that's dropped in the chat right now that you can go and you can register for that webinar, which is on March 5th. So again, thank you, Mandy, for joining us. And thank you, audience, for being a part of our conversation this evening. We really value that you've all been here and hope you